Hi everybody, and welcome to the Chapter 4 videos. In today's video, in this one, we're going to talk about different types of risk. So let's get started. So here we have the Victorian risk assessment where they say this might be perilous, this little bridge here. And that's what we're going to talk about today is what is risk and different types of risk. So let's get started. So here we have a bunch of guys jumping out of an airplane. When I say risk, well, that might be risky. That's not exactly what it is that I'm talking about. So what I'm thinking about when I say risk is business risk, information risk, inherent risk, control risk, detection risk, audit risk. So these are the different types of risks that auditors need to think about. So the first one, business risk. This is the risk that an entity might fail to meet its objectives. So it might not meet its sales targets. It might not employ the people that it needs to employ. It might fail. It might go bankrupt. That's this idea of business risk. The next type of risk that we talk about is information risk. So information risk is the probability that information circulated by a company will be false or misleading. So that is what we as auditors are trying to minimize. We want to make sure that the information that companies are circulating that we are tied to is not going to be false or misleading. Also, information that they may give to us might be false or misleading. So we also have to be skeptical to make sure that that's not swaying our decision and that we are basing our opinions on accurate, true information. The next type of risk is inherent risk. So inherent risk is the probability that without an internal control, we might have errors or frauds that could enter our accounting system and be used to create those financial statements. So this is very, very broad. So this could come from our employees. This could come from the environment that we work in. This could come from our industry. This could come from the different systems that we use. This is very, very broad. So really, when we think about these different types of risks, pretty much if it's not a control risk, it's going to probably be an inherent risk. It's kind of a catch-all for everything that's going on within your client's business that isn't related specifically to a control. So that brings us to control risk, which is the probability that internal controls will fail to detect misstatements if it has already been entered into that accounting system. So we may have flaws with how our control is designed, or flaws with how it's operating. So it might be designed perfectly. We might have a beautiful program, procedure manual, but when we actually come down to how we're doing that control, it may fall flat. So the risk that we could have some errors that kind of sneak through those controls is this idea of control risk. Then we have detection risk, which is the probability that audit procedures will fail to produce evidence of a misstatement. So coming into the audit, we're going to do a number of different procedures, and detection risk is the risk that those procedures won't find the evidence that they need of a misstatement that really is out there. And then finally, audit risk is the probability that our audit will fail to detect material misstatements and therefore express an incorrect opinion. So again, our whole thing that we're trying to do, that very low bar that we're getting over, is this idea of risk and audit risk and issuing the correct opinion. So if we flub that opinion, that's going to be audit risk. So in our next video, we're going to look at the audit risk model. So tune in for that.